Hello everyone, welcome to Cribwolf Talks. My name is Lino Fair, host of Cribwolf Talks. Our nation's capital, Ottawa, Canada, hosted the Intentional Community Consortium, referred to as the ICC, for a two-day housing conference on March 19th and 20th, 2024, with various members of our federal government. Understanding the structure of the Canadian parliamentary system can be confusing. Our production team put together this short video to provide our audience with a better understanding of the roles of our parliamentary system, specifically all acting members of our federal government.
Parliamentarians are your representatives at Parliament. Senators work in the Senate, and members of Parliament, or MPs, work in the House of Commons. But who are parliamentarians? What kind of work do they do? And how do they represent you? Senators are appointed by Canada's Governor-General, based on advice from the Prime Minister. Each senator represents one of Canada's 10 provinces, or 3 territories. Members of Parliament are elected by Canadians to represent a specific area of the country, called a constituency. Parliamentarians come from many different backgrounds. Some are lawyers, doctors, teachers, or scientists. Their experiences bring multiple viewpoints to Parliament. In the Senate and House of Commons chambers, parliamentarians propose, debate, and study bills, which are proposals for new laws. But their role goes way beyond the chamber floor. They serve the people they represent and meet with concerned citizens. They are members of committees where they study bills and other important issues. They talk to journalists and attend conferences, events, and ceremonies. Some senators and most MPs are part of political parties. In the House of Commons, the party with the most MPs forms the government. They set priorities for what's discussed at Parliament. The Prime Minister is the head of government. They choose some MPs to be cabinet ministers who are in charge of specific departments like health, finance, environment, or foreign affairs. The leader of the opposition is head of the party with the second most seats. The opposition holds the government accountable by challenging its views and decisions. Some senators belong to a political party, while others are independent. The Prime Minister chooses one senator to be the representative of the government in the Senate. They speak for the government during Senate debates and answer questions on its behalf. No matter their political stripes, all senators and MPs work together to represent your voice and your views. It's up to you to tell them what you think.
Welcome back. I do hope this video was helpful, as federal members of Parliament and senators are very important to our Canadian system of government. The ICC Housing Conference was initiated with the objective of bringing together, in one room so to speak, MPs, senators, and members of the ICC. Essentially, the members of the ICC would meet and hear our MPs discuss their perspective on the critical housing shortage and the various issues presented by the ICC organization. This was not the first ICC conference, and it will not be the last. It is, however, the first ICC conference captured on video by the Cribwolf Talks team. At this point of our program, let's watch this video, which captured the MP's reception, hosted by the Speaker of the House, the Honourable Greg Fergus, MP Mike Morrice, the Honourable Marco Mendicino, Louise Chabot, Bonita and Melissa Lantsman, the Deputy Leader of the Conservative Party.
Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, it is my sincere pleasure to welcome you here today on behalf of the House of Commons. I see that there are many parliamentary colleagues here from the House and from the Senate. If I could ask every member of Parliament, please, and Senator, to raise their arms so you can just see them. Marvelous. I think this is an indication. I'm sorry? Well, it starts with raising your arm. There's some other work intervening. Tout d'abord, je veux reconnaître que nous nous trouvons sur le territoire non cédé du peuple algonquin, la nation Anishinaabe, qui sont ici depuis toujours. Nous sommes très, très reconnaissants d'être ici. Et merci vraiment à mes collègues. Vous avez noté qu'il y avait plusieurs sénateurs, sénatrices, plusieurs députés qui sont ici dans la salle, mais j'aimerais juste souligner quelques-uns, les co-commanditaires de cet événement. Alors, avec Melissa Lantsman, elle est là, voilà. Marco Mendicino, il est ici. Bonita Zarrillo. Louise Chabot. Mike Morrice. Voilà. Qui s'est joint à moi. Alors, on devrait les applaudir. We should give them a round of applause for co-hosting this event. You know, the work of the different groups who are gathered here today is so important for providing housing and making sure it's integrated and making sure that people are given a chance to contribute. En plus d'aider dans plusieurs aspects de la vie des personnes vivant avec une déficience intellectuelle, ils sont ici aujourd'hui pour discuter d'un besoin primaire, l'accès à un endroit à vivre et être en sécurité. Your work to make our communities more inclusive is so important. You help open up a world of possibility to individuals and families who are marginalized and too often defined by what they cannot do rather than what they dream of doing. And by creating inclusive spaces for people with pour un anglophone, c'est difficile quelquefois, developmental disabilities to live, work, and play, you strengthen and help people live full lives. Everyone needs connection. Everyone needs to find meaning in their lives. And everyone deserves dignity, independence, and opportunities, and for personal growth at every stage of life. C'est pourquoi je veux saluer tous vos efforts et vous remercier de ce travail essentiel pour notre société. To all of you here today, whether you help provide housing, employment supports, or community-based activities, you are helping people find their place in their communities. Vous réaffirmez l'importance de l'appartenance, de la dignité de l'inclusion, et nous en bénéficions tous. Merci à tous et à toutes d'être ici avec nous aujourd'hui pour célébrer ce travail essentiel que vous faites. Thank you for coming here today. Miigwech, merci beaucoup. And I'll turn the microphone over. Is it to you, Gary?
It's to me for
all right, there we go. Thank you all.
Merci beaucoup. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for those wonderful and meaningful words. Even more importantly, Mr. Speaker, thank you for continuing the tradition of the Speaker hosting us for our 5th reception, and I think you've been at all 5. So thank you very much. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. C'est avec grand plaisir que je vous souhaite la bienvenue à cet événement destiné à soutenir les personnes ayant un déficit développemental et nos plans pour augmenter le logement avec services de soutien ouverts aux Canadiens souffrant de déficits développementaux partout au pays grâce à votre soutien à la stratégie nationale de logement. Je m'appelle Gary Gladstone, je suis président de Consortium communautaire international et responsable de la relations avec les partis présents chez RINA. J'ai maintenant le plaisir de vous présenter le vice-président de Consortium communautaire international et directeur exécutif de District Sud de Cash Development Services, Monsieur David Petka. Oh.
Well, good afternoon or maybe evening to everybody. My name is David Petka, and I'm one of the 7 executive directors with Caris Disability Services, formerly known as Christian Horizons. Someday we'll stop saying that. As well as the co-chair of the Intentional Communities Consortium, along with Gary and some other wonderful executive that I hope you get a chance to meet today. And it is my pleasure to help us walk through our time together. But first, I want to just start by recognizing that we here today are meeting on the traditional lands of the Algonquin people. The Intentional Community Consortium is in collaboration with RENA, Community Living Toronto, Oasis, the Provincial Network on Developmental Disabilities, and Caris Disability Services are pleased to co-sponsor this fifth reception with Honourable Greg Fergus.
He's there.
Already
He's at the
on?
back.
No? Okay, good stuff. Thank you very much for your words. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this event to showcase our plans to find solutions to the deeply affordable housing crisis faced by individuals with diverse abilities across Canada. And when we say deeply affordable, we are reflecting on record rent increases, record low vacancy rates up against a vulnerable population who relies on social income payments to meet their housing needs. Here in Ontario, it's about $500 of shelter allowance per month. This is why we are excited about the National Housing Strategy, and we are thrilled to have people we support recognized within the strategy. To quote that strategy, it says 2,400 new affordable units will be created for people with developmental disabilities. According to CMHC's September 2023 annual report, there are commitments to build 847 of those units for people with developmental disabilities. Our hope is to see this increase even more, but it is certainly a start. Our sector being recognized within the strategy meant that we have been heard, and we thank you all. And our Canadian citizens that have a developmental disability also thank you. But as everyone gathered here knows, more still must be done. The agencies of the International Community Consortium, now totaling 34, have been busy working with CMHC and other partners to build new homes for those with developmental disabilities. With the incredible support of CMHC Rapid Housing Initiative 3 and the City of Toronto, RENA has now started construction on the Frankfurt Family RENA residence in Toronto, providing deeply affordable housing and supports to 168 persons. Yeah, exactly. Community Living Toronto is making considerable progress on their Lawson development that will be designed to be inclusive, accessible, transit-friendly, making it easy for everyone to get around and participate in the community. But not all is sunshine. Caris Disability Services, of which I represent, has been unable to proceed with 2 affordable housing projects despite having committed partners that included CMHC, local governments, passionate corporate and individual donors. A quickly changing economic environment created barriers that were not easily adapted to, and this brought these projects to a halt. But we are hopeful that other mixed-use housing projects will be scaled out across Canada. I would like to acknowledge the close to 70 participants from over 36 charities and nonprofits who are here today to share information to increase the housing supply. We are excited to hear from each of our hosts for today's reception and looking forward to their view on the new National Housing Strategy, and in particular, the value for people we support and represent today. We now would like to call on, and if you guys want to just come up in order after each other, but the Honourable Mike Mendicino, MP Melissa Lantsman, MP Bonita Zarrillo, MP Louise Chabot, and MP Mike Morrice to say a few words.
Okay. Merci, bienvenue tout le monde, bienvenue à la colline, merci à la présidente de la Chambre de commune, Greg, Fergus, and très bon homme. You don't know it, but he's got a big screen in the back here, so next time he hosts, you should get him to open it up so you can all be entertained. Maybe watch a little question period before you dive into the hors d'oeuvres. I'm going to keep my remarks very brief because I don't want to stand in the way of you and the wonderful company that you're keeping. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge my colleagues from all sides of the aisle, the senators who are here, my good friends within the ICC, including Gary Gladstone. Give it up for Gary, who's
Fantastic guy, champion. You know, we were talking before we started these remarks, and I made a point to highlight that in my riding of Eglinton Lawrence, we recently made an announcement in partnership with RENA for a new home that is going to service seniors and disabled persons over the next couple of years. We'll see approximately 150, 165.
168 individuals.
168 individuals. So that is proof of the incredible work that RENA is doing. Give it up for them. I actually remembered the address, and he said, don't worry about the address. You got the money. That's the most important thing. But I actually want to take a moment to thank all of you. Because as I look out and I see the various disciplines that are represented here, people who work as home builders, people who provide support for the disabled community. I even think I met an architect who's at the back, low. It's actually, I think the vision of the ICC is to bring all of you under one roof so that you can create more roofs for the people that need it the most. And I just really want to take a moment on behalf of my community, and I hope on behalf of all of my colleagues, to thank you for the advocacy that you bring to this important work in creating more homes, for the work and the elbow grease that you put into the community each and every day, and for your commitment to Canada. And I know that that is something that is going to serve all of us in the long run. So, merci beaucoup. Thank you again.
Thanks, Marco, and thank you to all of you and some of my colleagues who are here, John Barlow and Shelby Cramp, and it's a pleasure to be here with you and always with RENA. RENA has one of the bigger footprints in the riding that I'm lucky and honored to represent, and so I think I represent RENA a little more in the House of Commons, but I think we all represent the work that you do and the work that you champion every single day in your places of work, and it's been a pleasure to see them grow and blossom, growing up in Thornhill and frankly around communities. We've seen them turn into projects in people's backyards, to the trifecta of services that we enjoy in places like the suburbs of Toronto that actually serve our community and every day, and it's a marvel to watch. And the work that goes on behind the scenes, I don't think that people appreciate, and I don't think that members of our community understand what goes in and day out in serving a population, no matter where you're from or what language you speak or what your financial situation is. That organizations like yours serve everyone. So I thank you very much for that. I thank you for your commitment. I thank particularly my friend Gary. And Gary and I have a complicated relationship, but on the things that matter, we agree, and we will work together hand in hand to make sure that things are better for people in the community. That's why I'm lucky to call Gary a friend, and that's why it'll surmount any of that. This sounds weird, but it's a longer story. But thank you, Gary, for being a friend, a trusted partner, somebody that I hope to work with for a very, very long time to make it possible for people who are now going to outlive their own families find a place with dignity and with pride to call their own. You have the commitment from our side of the house. I know you have the commitment of my colleagues, and certainly of the Speaker, who's opened his home to host you today. So enjoy the conversations. I hope they're fruitful, and thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you so much. Welcome everyone. I'm Bonita Zarrillo, the Member of Parliament for Port Moody of Coquitlam, all the way out in BC, visiting from the unceded and traditional territory of the Coquitlam. And I just wanted to follow up on something that MP Lantsman said about family. And got a big hug from Gary when I came in today. Had an opportunity to have a meeting earlier with James Tenero. It's a family. It's a family, and I know I've only been on the Hill for just over 2 years, but when I come into this room, I just feel like so welcomed, and this is the work that we're doing. So if I think about housing, I know many of you know that families, siblings, parents, spouses, partners, we're all struggling with how to get the best housing to meet everybody's needs. And I think about the work that each and every one of you do every day to make sure that families and individuals have a place to call home and to greet each other and to meet each other and to share those special moments together. So I appreciate you so much. I've got some prepared notes here that I don't want to not say. So really, I wanted to extend my sincerest well wishes to each of you as you're embarking on your meeting with MPs and you build that family here on the Hill. I had a meeting today and it's just, it fills my heart to know that this work is happening. And I'm so happy to see that in the National Housing Strategy that there's some realization and a carve out that this work needs to be done. In my own riding of Coquitlam, it was about 8 years ago, we had a 5-hour public hearing to get 8 units of accessible housing, a 5-hour public hearing. So I am hoping we have left those days behind, that we have municipalities that understand this work needs to be done in partnership, that we need to have inclusive and flourishing communities. So I thank you all for your tireless dedication, for shedding a light on this situation, and the dire housing situation. In my riding alone, because rents are so high, some people are spending, and I know all of you have seen this, 100% of their incomes just on their rental housing. So I raise my hands to all of you. I'm so happy to be here with you today, and I'm so proud to stand up and shine a light on the work that you're all doing together here. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hello.
Bonsoir. C'est un réel plaisir d'être parmi vous ce soir. Et mes premières salutations vont s'adresser à vous, toutes les personnes qui sont ici, tous les organismes qui représentent les personnes vivant avec une déficience intellectuelle. Vraiment, respect pour ce que vous faites, pour ce que vous êtes. Vous contribuez réellement à nous faire grandir et à faire avancer notre société. Merci à Irina d'avoir organisé cet événement. Je pense que c'est une occasion pour vous d'interpeller vos élus sur des revendications et de besoins que je considère fondamentaux dans l'avancement de notre société. Je tiens à profiter de l'occasion. Vous savez, au Québec, cette semaine, depuis le 17 mars, c'est la semaine québécoise de la déficience intellectuelle. C'est une semaine où, dans le fond, les organismes, les personnes atteintes en situation de déficience intellectuelle veulent sensibiliser la population à leur réalité, veulent être capables de dire nous voulons vivre dans une inclusion, être capables de faire valoir leurs besoins, leur réalité. Moi, je suis quand même emballée par toute cette résilience, la combativité de ces personnes-là qui revendiquent des droits, un droit fondamental comme le droit au logement, un droit au logement adapté avec des services. S'il y a de quoi de plus fondamental que se loger et se nourrir, je pense que c'est important. Et dans ce sens-là, en tout cas au Québec, on soutient les personnes. On a d'ailleurs des beaux modèles. J'ai mon appart à moi, qui pour les réalités de ces personnes-là. Puis vous pouvez compter sur notre appui. Mon collègue ici, Denis Trudel, qui est porte-parole en matière de logement, c'est notre bataille au quotidien de dire que tout le monde a le droit de façon égale à se loger. Et pour ça, vos revendications d'interpeller les élus, vous pouvez compter sur le Bloc québécois pour être en soutien à ce que vous faites. Mes salutations, mes hommages. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, madame. Madame Chabot.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Gary.
Merci, Gary. Je suis le dernier député pour dire des mots. Et premièrement, je veux dire merci encore. It takes so much work to get yourselves on the Hill to make sure that your voices are getting heard. And I'm not sure I can properly share how important it is for you all to be here. Because the fact is that We will make better decisions in there if MPs are hearing directly from people with disabilities across the country and organizations that are here to support them. And that's what you're doing every single year for the 5th year in a row. The relationships you're building, my hope is, will lead to better decisions being made that center the lived experience of people with disabilities. And by doing it together, you can clap for that, that's okay. By doing it together through the Intentional Community Consortium, your voices are louder and they're being heard all the more, as evidenced by all of the MPs from all parties in the House of Commons who are here to be hearing from you. As an MP from Waterloo Region, I'm particularly proud that Parents for Community Living, KW Rehabilitation, I see Ann in the back, and David from CARES Disability Services are all here. It's wonderful to have you all here. I also see Brian May, a colleague from Waterloo Region. I think I saw Bardish Chagger earlier as well. All of whom from Waterloo Region and from across the country are here to be listening to you. Pretty good timing in lead up to the budget we're expecting on April 16th. And so kudos to you all for picking the right time to come together to make sure that MPs in this country are hearing from you and making decisions based on your lived experience. It's an honor to be back with you again. Thank you.
The MP reception on day one of the ICC Housing Conference provided us an awareness of the need for collaboration and proposed changes required for the path forward. Cribwolf Talks will continue reporting on the ICC Housing Conference held at the Parliament building in Ottawa, Canada. Thank you for tuning in, and please keep watching our program. I'm Lino Farah. Have a great day. Stay well.